Hello, I'm Deb Winters.
And I'm Howard, her husband.
We were asked to share some of our thoughts about asking for help. And one of the suggested questions was, when did you realize that asking for help was not a statement of failure? And I have to share that I'm a retired pastor. And so I looked to the Bible for that answer. And God expects us to ask for help. That starts in the Old Testament, where Moses had Aaron hold his arms up while the battle was going, because the only way the Israelites could win was when Moses had his arms up. He needed help to do that. Asking for help is not a failure. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm stubborn, independent, and I don't like to ask for help. I found myself on the floor several times because of that. But at the end of the day, asking for help is a superpower. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Yes? Our experience, I'm a peer support specialist. Howard's a peer mentor. And even before that, we did ministry in the recovery community. And we learned there that nobody does this alone. As a peer support specialist, I'm on board looking to walk alongside and supply people living with ALS or their caregivers with resources that make a difference. We cannot do that by ourselves. There is so much out there that you need help to find the right resources for you. Have you seen that in peer mentoring?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Maybe even more than just the physical needs of taking care of daily tasks or chores or hygiene, all those things that are associated with this disease, is having that connection and that camaraderie, if you will, that you can provide hope and lift each other up and encourage each other. So I think the connection and the communication is really important, whether you are a person living with ALS or you're a caregiver working with somebody who has ALS. This disease wants to isolate you because it's easier, really, a lot of times to do nothing. And so I think that's one of the biggest things about asking for help is it gets you out of the house, and you'll be able to do more things. And instead of living like you're dying, just live like you're living every day.
I was going to add that I never tell people that I'm dying with ALS. I always say I'm living with ALS. And I got to the realization that I couldn't do all the things I wanted to do if I wasn't able to accept help for them. Howard is my primary caregiver. One of our daughters also helps on a very regular basis. And the silly little things that many of us don't think about. I have to ask for a cup of coffee. I have to ask if I'm not in my chair properly. I have to ask if I have an itch on my nose because I can't reach my nose anymore. And all those things, when you submit to the need, allows you to live a quality of life that you couldn't live alone.
I think you learn some things along the way too as you're helping each other. For example, I never knew how to curl or straighten hair or put on makeup. Had no idea what highlighters and blushes were, but I'm not doing too bad at it right now. And I think one of the things about asking for help from other people, and that's difficult because people have a lot of other things going on in their lives also. Everybody's got stuff going on. But I think it's important to invite people into your life. It can really be a blessing. There are people that are probably on the fringe that are around you, around us, that would like to help. They just don't know how. They don't know how to ask. They don't want to intrude. They're not sure. But once you make the invitation, all of a sudden they become comfortable to the point where maybe sometimes you can't get rid of them. They want to be that helpful. So I think that's what I've found out is invite people in to help and let them do what they can. If all they can do is just come sit with you and talk with you, or maybe bring a meal, or maybe run some errands, or invite you over, we can still get out and about, okay, with some planning. That kind of stuff, the day-to-day stuff, is very encouraging, gives us hope, gives us energy, and a little bit of peace, so that we are living with this, not dying from it.
I'm going to add to that I try to be proactive. What I mean by that is generally children are very curious when they see me in my power chair. Yeah. It's unlike any wheelchair they've ever seen, especially if I'm using my eye level and I'm up on a pedestal, if you will. Yeah. And moms and dads will shush them and make them turn their eyes away and not stare. But I make an effort to reach out and say, "That's a pretty cool wheelchair, isn't it?" Or whatever is appropriate for the situation. And when I make the first overture, moms and dads are normally very happy to let their kids ask questions and be involved in the conversation. Yeah. Lets me talk about ALS to the parents and satisfy little ones' curiosity. How has asking for help changed our relationships?
Well, that's a good question. Overall, I think we have probably become closer. It's the way I feel. We probably are better at anticipating each other's needs, moods, desires, whatever, because we have to pay attention to, really every step, twist, turn, lift, set. We have to be very methodical and very careful. And I would say again, when you invite people in to your life during that process, they see that. And we've gotten some feedback from a couple people that are close to us that they can see our relationship is pretty close. We're pretty tight in that we're doing our very best to follow Jesus. There are moments we're not in the fold. We're out running around in the wilderness.
We are not walking the walk.
We have our moments. We go to our neutral corners in the house. She's got an office, I got an office. We disappear from each other for a while. But I think that's because you never know what other people have going on in their lives, right? So when you invite people in, you let them be part of the solutions to the problems. You let them be a help. You're honoring them. You're not stealing their joy. A lot of people want to help. They don't steal their joy, right? But I think they also take something away that they take back to wherever they take home or to work or whatever situation. You really end up helping other people too, I think. And I think it's just discipleship and the mentorship that we talk about through the peer support or the mentorship. It's, life's tough for everybody. Everybody's got stuff. So we might as well just do it together, figure it out.
It's way more fun.
It's just way more fun than trying to do it all on your own. And I think it's, as Deb mentioned, it's biblical too. We're called to fellowship. And there's a reason for that. It's God's plan for us to be in fellowship with each other, to help each other out, to carry each other's burdens. I'm not going to quote the scripture and verse, but,
Ephesians 6:1.
Yeah, okay, she will. Help carry each other's burdens and call on Jesus too to, he's our biggest helper, cast our cares on him and let him carry most of the burden. And that's the first place we should be calling for help. And it's amazing. When you do, he sends the people that you need. He's never failed to do that for us. And so when we start there and we keep our eyes on him, things have a tendency to work out. So, and I know everybody's situation is different. Some folks are progressing faster, some are progressing slower. Everybody's got different. This disease is so wild and crazy. Everybody's got something different going on. But in our hearts and in our minds, we're all pretty close to the same. We have all this pretty close to the same needs and desires and wants. And you can fill that hole with a lot of Jesus and a little bit of help from your friends.
Maybe a lot of help from your friends.
Yeah, sometimes.
And even more Jesus.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
The emotions that surfaced, that as more and more of the help that I needed became more intimate, are difficult to talk about. Tears, absolutely, because my first response was to feel like ALS had taken away my dignity, and ALS had taken away my privacy, and those takeaways are hard to accept. There's no secret about that.
Mm-hmm.
When I was able to turn it around and be grateful that I have an amazing husband and caregiver who I've already been intimate with, was willing to walk alongside me and care for me in any way that was needed. That's a plus. That's an add-in. That's a benefit, not a takeaway. And so, while yes, there have been tears, there have been discouragement, there has been all of the, as I would say, PMS moments, which means poor me syndrome moments. At the end of the day, I'm living life. I'm living life with my best friend, and that is a good thing. He's the real superhero, and the encouragement that he provides, the care that he provides, is above what anyone could expect or imagine. Thanks for listening. Thanks for asking. And we are all superheroes because we are beaten and working to beat ALS.